Yeah, and I think I'll start off and just set the tone a little bit. And we in Empathic Building have Halton as a really cool customer, and they understand kind of BIM and digital twins really well. So I think I'll kind of share my screen and show a few really quick things, and then I can ask Anu's expert opinion on what she thinks about these things. First up, actually, I just published a kind of digital twin report for a company I used to work for. I left in December. We'll put a link on this on the chat. So in December, we did a big interview of digital twins for buildings, a big interview round looking at lots of different use cases between a couple of universities in Finland and the company I used to work for. So that kind of gave us a little bit of a state of the art, especially in Finland. And hopefully we'll do that in a few extra countries quite soon. But the overview that we did in the report was, I have a design background, almost 20 years, so I've kind of been in design projects. And the company I used to work for was a real kind of BIM expertise company. But really, we kind of looked at the operations phase, and we kind of looked at, okay, let's speak to all these people. Let's speak to asset managers and end users and all these different companies. And then we kind of saw there was kind of four different kinds of twins in terms of complexity. The perfect digital twin, the kind of engineering one that has some simulations, and then we have this like interactive floor plan, and then some kind of business intelligence dashboard. And actually, we see kind of empathic building as being this element that enables these kind of last two at the moment. So it can be a digital twin, a really simple digital twin, and I'll kind of show what that means. And from our point of view, we kind of have a kind of software background. So the software is quite intuitive. It's really focused on the user experience, and there's a kind of real ability from an integration point of view. And when we kind of did this report last year, actually in September, we asked kind of 180 people at an event, or I think it was 400 or 500 at the event, and 180 people voted online. And we were kind of asking them there during the event, kind of live, should we create this big, fancy, fantastic digital twin based on BIM and has all the integrations? Or is the market really looking for something now, something that's a simpler version, and then we continuously add complexity over time? And we really got this feedback from our market anyway, that they were ready for something simple. Stop promising things you've been promising for the last 10 years. And then we see a real kind of a simple digital twin, a kind of a light version, as being really impactful. And actually, there's a lot of work then to have these big simulation engines and integrated with all the data. So actually, it's a bit like Josephine said at the start. We really see it as being a use case generated. It's not about tools. It's not about BIM versus simple digital twins. It's about use cases. So we've been kind of collecting these use cases, and they're kind of in the report. Small things, actually low and kind of medium value use cases, like visualizing indoor conditions, or like lease managers, or finding desks or rooms for the end users. And we kind of think that these use cases are ready now. We can solve them now with the technology we have, and that actually the BIM industry that I've been part of, and Anu knows really well from kind of ventilation design projects, just isn't ready for these kind of things. So that's the kind of overview from our side. I can show the installation that Anu has in her building in a moment. But Anu, do you want to introduce Halton really quickly, what Halton does? And then so you've seen this BIM, the promised BIM wonderland, for quite a while. Where are we in the kind of roadmap of kind of delivering these things, and what should we expect today, or what should we be working on today?
Yeah, Halton is specialized in ventilation products and systems, and we do have kind of we focus on especially kind of one of our strategic areas is workplaces or office environments, and naturally work also with other types of projects, but kind of from the perspective of sustainability and well-being, kind of how to combine those two things. And we have noticed, like you said, that it's the BIM, the world is not ready yet. So what we've started to work with is kind of starting starting to combine the ventilation system with a kind of office application, so that we get the kind of intuitivity there, but we are not, and then utilizing the ventilation system, the logic what is in there, and I was kind of separately, so that the combining those kind of the best elements of both, because world isn't just ready for kind of more advanced.
And if you guys kind of specialize in kind of air quality indoors and the kind of ventilation systems that are delivering them, what is the kind of BIM? So if there is a BIM model, is it, you know, is it something that has predictive maintenance and has all the kind of ventilation drawings inside it, and that is kind of a really technical solution? Or are you guys focusing on a kind of something an end user can understand and interact with today, and therefore it's able to be lighter, for example, for your needs today?
Well, actually, both and. So we do kind of, we see that for the end user, it has to be intuitive. It has to be kind of, none of us, or well, some of us in our company who are really, really into the ventilation technology, you might kind of be interested to fine tune from a different program, kind of the temperature and the different indoor environmental elements. But for a normal user, it has to be intuitive. It has to be the kind of the user interface that you would utilize normally in the office, and naturally for our kind of ventilation system, then for the maintenance persons of the property managers, technical property management. So you are able to kind of also look under the hood and see that how the system is actually working.
Yeah, and maybe I can show really quickly. So the Empathic Building kind of smart office app that you have in your office building, it looks like this. You can have the view as being 2D or 3D. And for us, again, this kind of is this kind of nucleus of a digital twin, because the geometry, the floor plan is always up to date. If we change a room or we knock down some walls or we kind of move things around, we will update this. And then it has various amounts of real-time information. So this is being used by you guys, for example, at the moment to kind of see which desks have been used. There's 4 people in the office today, it looks like. So very little utilization today. But you can see the kind of rooms that are occupied or the desks that have been occupied today. And you're using these to kind of focus on the cleaning of the desks at the moment, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we are kind of we have extended the period that now those desks that have been used are seen as purple. So when the cleaning staff comes the next morning, so they just refer back to yesterday or today's usage, and then clean those areas that have been used.
Yeah. And then from the kind of real-time data point of view, you guys have kind of temperature sensors here all over the space that you can see the different temperatures. And then I see some of the ventilation systems there. There's a beautiful demo effect here. Some of the ventilation systems are actually offline from our side today, but you can see some of the spaces like the kind of break room that some of the CO2 is kind of shown there. And this is very kind of simple for the kind of office users to understand. And I guess one thing we've been talking about lately with regards to COVID is that if I have one of these meeting rooms right now that I've reserved, then actually we want to see the CO2 across the different meeting rooms, because if one of the meeting rooms is just commonly used because it's just the closest to where everyone sits and everyone books meeting rooms there, then you want to see actually what is the CO2 in that room, which is essentially full of other people's air during this time. And then through Empathic Building, you can kind of change the booking and you can book a different room for that. So I guess it's just the idea of having something really light and something really usable, and then using it with lots of different data, like you guys are, and kind of reporting service tickets, or I'm not going to put a service ticket in your EP, or reporting kind of feelings, kind of feedback and these kind of things as well, that we can use these things for today. And I guess sometimes I say, In the market today, we have, quite often out-of-date PDFs, and the same market where we have out-of-date PDFs as the kind of understanding of what the building looks like. We're talking a lot about having these, perfect, complex digital twins. And I guess this is a kind of a finished look of just a really practical viewpoint that this is the actual digital twins that we could have today. And these are the kind of use cases they could solve. Cool. Yeah. So what do you see kind of next then? We have what's the timeline, or what can we expect if we want to have the big complex digital twins and we want to have predictive maintenance? And I say, in this room, it's cold, and I want to trace the ventilation system that's feeding that room. Is it still kind of what we think in the report, which was, 3 to 5 years? Or what does Halton think about, the big BIM digital twins? Where are we, or when can we expect them?
I believe that it will. It's very difficult to give any estimate, but I think that it, even though there's been now a kind of a good deal of development on this front, and I feel that still there is kind of the early adapters are now kind of coming on board to these kind of a lighter digital twins. So I think that, and kind of taking into account also the project kind of timelines. So it will take some years still at least. So,
and I guess
But what is a good thing is that I think that the demand for these types of systems were kind of office applications, and then maybe utilizing those as the user interfaces for also other systems like we are doing. So there is more and more demand for it, because kind of building the transparency for the office users. I think that that's really important now and during the COVID times. And so kind of like we are showing that what are the indoor environment conditions in the offices. So truly important topic.
Yeah, and like one of the things we've heard the most often over the last couple of years is just show me where the free phone booth is to have a Skype call. Show me where the free desks are. Someone makes a cursory glance and pre-COVID says I can't find a desk. And that kind of real-time user information is really important. And then having that in a really easy to understand intuitive user interface is kind of what we believe is most important. And I guess, one of the elephants in the room is that decisions made in a BIM dominant digital twins world, decisions made in construction by the logics of construction kind of decide what your visualization or your geometry or your tools are, for the next 20 years of the life cycle of the building. So kind of decoupling ourselves from those construction and design decisions and starting with this really light kind of version is definitely what we think makes sense for the next couple of years. And hopefully then in a number of years' time, we add complexity to the people working on digital twins and BIM kind of gets better and then everything improves over time. But I think you guys, the system that you have integrated with empathic building kind of looks really nice and works really well. And the fact that your proprietary kind of CO2 ventilation system can integrate so well and be used so readily is exactly the kind of use cases that we think make sense, especially when I go into a meeting room in the future. One of my first questions is going to be, why are we using this meeting room? Let's use the room with the less CO2, because that basically means less other people's breath. So I think CO2 and ventilation systems kind of have become more relevant than in the past. But yeah, I think that's most of everything from me. I'm also conscious of time. Is there anything else, Anu, that we forgot to say or that you'd like to say?
I believe that we have covered many of the topics. So I think
cool. Okay.
I have a question for you, Anu. Technical property management. Do you think that is going to be a big game changer in the next couple of years? Because I think if you do it with all the technology that is out there, you can do it way more cost efficiently than property management is being done right now. How do you see that?
Yeah, I believe that's one of the discussions that what we've had also inside the company, that actually when you add a kind of intelligence to the systems, so they are quite often, with all kind of respect to also the facility managers and the work done there, but kind of they would be able to diagnose the kind of problem situations quite efficiently, because we quite often, when we are getting inquiries, we get and kind of the challenges in buildings. So they tend to be they are quite often such that they could have been diagnosed and then maybe corrected by the system itself. And if you have kind of problems with the getting a talented persons and kind of the on sites to fix those systems that are quite smart already, so you might be tuning the system to a wrong direction, and then it doesn't really work. So kind of adding the intelligence to it, I think that it would save kind of money and effort. And naturally, what we are now doing, for instance, well, now in workplaces, but also in commercial kitchens, is a lot of this, especially in our company, what has kind of started really nicely is remotely managing the problem situations with our clients' commercial kitchens.
Well, cool. That sounds great. Well, thank you very much, both. Thank you for this wonderful masterclass, Anu and Ken. Thank you.